we're good. Awesome. Hello and welcome to the 18U Boys Ontario Championships here at Rim Park. My name is Josh Nickel. Joining me is Robbie Abrams. Thanks for doing this.
Oh, no problem, Josh. Happy to be here.
So we'll get it. So Robbie's definitely qualified to be here. He's a national champion on the beach. He just finished a year at the University of Guelph, and he knows these teams very well, so we're lucky to have you. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. Happy to be here. I know it's a team that's near and dear to me. Georgetown is that's a club I played for when I was growing up, Josh, so it's exciting to see the boys finally kind of get themselves back into a provincial final.
So Georgetown beat Mavericks in pool play, beat Reach, and actually played Pac-Man and lost to them 2-0. Were able to bounce back. They won a tough quarterfinal against Niagara 3-1, and they beat Mavericks 3-1 to get here in the final. They came in as the number 3 seed, and Pac-Man Gold here. So they beat Reach, Mavericks, and Georgetown in pool play. A very tough pool to get out of, and then a tough one against LVC to win in 5 in their quarterfinal. And then they beat an old rival of theirs, Storm, 3-1 in the semifinal. So that was their kind of path to the final here. So we're really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, we're set up really well for a good battle here today. These are two teams that have played each other a lot this season.
And Ragosi starts off right away with a heavy spin serve. And that's Ketrzinski at the net taking care of the overpass. Speaking to Jesse Sadi before the game, they really like to play in transition. They really like to go after on their serve. And right away from the first point, we can see that that's how they want to play this game.
Yeah, this is going to be a challenge for Georgetown this game. They're going to have to make sure that pass is on because they're a little bit undersized compared to this Pac-Man offense. They're going to have to make sure they're running with a lot of speed today to get around that block.
And that's a 2-0 lead for Pac-Man. Once again, a little bit of service pressure, really trying to take the middle out of it. Pac-Man with their blocking scheme, if they can eliminate the other team's middle early on, they're really good going pin to pin.
Yeah, they certainly are. And outside there, you see Cole Ketrzinski, number 1 on the Pac-Man white. He's going to be a guy to watch this game, Josh. He just has been having an incredible tournament so far this weekend. That's another thing we're going to have to watch too is missed serves. They've been a real problem this weekend for both teams, for almost all teams in the tournament, dealing with these slightly shorter courts here at the OCs.
Wow, what a run by Trent Ketrzinski to set that with one hand, setting a tempo to his middle, number 2, Nick Basilio. Great run right off the bat.
It's a great shot by Basilio, and you're going to see him and both middles run really fast offense for Pac-Man. They like to get their middles going real quick so they can open up their outsides.
And that's Abrams, the libero, getting involved early here for Georgetown. Got a dig, made a nice out-of-system set. Oh, and I think we're unlucky. We got a net call, so this is going the Pac-Man way.
That's too bad for Georgetown, but Georgetown's going to be real disciplined with those net calls. They've been getting called all weekend, and so they're just going to have to watch that moving forward. Pac-Man's got a huge block, but you can't be too aggressive with your swings.
There it is. That shows the strength of Georgetown. If they can take care of that first contact and they got all 3 options going, they're going to be really good with Tamukas coming up the middle there.
Yeah, no question. Well, that's Big John Dunning there, number 51. And that's Georgetown's big strength is they have some of the best middles in the province. 51 and 9, Noah and John, 2 real big hitters out of the middle.
Unlucky. And I mean, we can be patient with the missed serves as long as we're going for it, but when you're missing a jump float like that at the back, that's the one that kind of breaks hearts of coaches.
Exactly. That's another net call there on Georgetown. That's 2 in the first 8 points here, Josh, and that's not what you want to see if you're the Impact moving forward.
So we should probably shout out to the officials. So that's Chris Getz on the one stand, and then Dave Williams with the eagle eye on the net call here. Georgetown's really going to have to adjust.
Oh, and there we go, our first line foot fault violation.
So joining Chris and Dave is Amanda Lorbergs on the lines and Patrick Murphy. So OVA really showing how invested they are into the 18U Ontario Championships with a full repping staff here. touched on it earlier. It is a shorter serving space here, so they do have 3 meters at the back. But again, thanks to the OVA and the way they scheduled this year, a lot of them were using university gyms or bigger high schools where they had maybe up to 4 or 5 meters of serving space. So they're really going to have to adjust that balance of being aggressive, but also watching your feet on that service line.
Exactly. And that's a great C-ball there by Nick Gomyemik. He's their big hitter for Georgetown, number 12. And you'll see him get set a lot out of the back row. They love running that C-ball. It wasn't something they've been using against Pac-Man earlier in the season, but they've really brought it out this time at the Ontario Championships.
Yeah, I look forward to that matchup for the rest of the game here. As he said, he's going to be a big option for them. And guess what? Georgetown's on the net again. Is that 3 or 4 already?
That's
early on?
Yeah, 3rd or 4th net violation already. And you can just see this is the poise of that Pac-Man lineup. They're just really on top of their game as far as staying off the net, being really disciplined. And it looks like we have a bit of a court malfunction right now.
So, Sport Court is great because you can kind of take it anywhere you want, but it seems to be popping up here in Area 4 for Pac-Man, which is probably the last spot you want to see a Sport Court start to pop up close to that post.
We have a great staff here at the Ontario Championships, and they worked really hard to get these set up. And things like it's been a wonderful venue all for the whole tournament, really.
Thanks to the OVA staff and all their volunteers. They always do a great job. I think everyone always looks forward to coming to Rim Park.
Looks like we have a bit of a reserve there, ball on the court, coming in.
Good, and what a battle by the center Bowen there at the net to really take care of that overpass.
Number 88, Chris Bowen, a little bit undersized for a setter, but he's going to play it at Humber College next year, and they're really excited to have him.
And the Pac-Man middle chooses to stay down on that out-of-system set, and Georgetown just takes a big rip on it. Great out-of-system play to get a transition attack with that tough ball.
Yeah, great shot there by Noel Campfans. That's something you'll see Georgetown do a lot, is that out-of-system set. They're a really scrappy team, but sometimes their passes are a little off, so you're seeing them push out-of-system a lot more than other teams do.
Patience by Georgetown to show that they really want to get gritty with this game. They're going to get digs, they're going to take big swings out of system, and they're definitely going to block and transition.
And the best part for them is they're staying off that net now. A couple of those early violations got them behind early, but now they're closing the gap now with their net play.
There it is. Jackson Young getting involved here. He had to tip a few balls, but finally got a set that he wanted to take a swing at. He's an OVA All-Star this year, having a great year. We'll see how it progresses with him, and probably Cole Ketrzinski really driving the bus for Pac-Man.
Yeah, they play those two up front together, and that's a really dangerous lineup. Jackson Young's one of the biggest bouncers I've seen at the ATNU division this whole season and across any season. Just a really athletic player.
Shows the athleticism of both teams when we do get into transition, is everybody's going to be high flying, taking huge swings at the ball. I think it's really going to come down to who can block better in transition. If you give up a seam against any of these hitters, they're going to take full advantage.
I totally agree. I think both teams are swinging to start the game, which is always what you want to see in a gold medal match. And then you see it again, Noel Campfans for Georgetown, number 13, coming in on that tandem right behind John Dunning in the middle, and that's been working really well this weekend for Georgetown as far as kind of mixing up that offense to create gaps in the block.
run on Basilio into the gap there. You can see that Gumienik wanted to help out there, couldn't close well enough. Let's see if Rogosi can put a little pressure on him from the service line. He's got one of the better spin serves in this age division. Pac-Man starting to pull away a little bit now, up 12-8.
And Rogosi's definitely the guy you want on the line. You mentioned it, Josh, one of the best spin servers in this age group just because he's so consistent. Rarely see a miss from Peter, and he's a really strong player.
Just misses. Linesperson Patrick Murphy had a good read on that ball, as we're now, 9 serving 12 here. Call early on as first official Chris Getz calls it on Petrozinski there. I think Trent's a very confident player. I don't think that's going to stop him trying to force stuff and be creative the rest of the match.
No, definitely not. And when he's got his brother out there, number one, Cole Petrozinski on the outside, that brother-to-brother connection is going to be on full display.
Blake Fenwick hitting the antenna there. They do like to run it fast. He just couldn't cut it off early enough. As Pac-Man increases their lead, they're up 14-10 here. Once again, when things open up to transition with both these teams, the game doesn't seem to slow down. They're still running transition. They're still looking for options. That was a great back set by Georgetown to really open up a seam.
Yeah, and I think you see it. It's just two really good setters, two really strong setters, Chris Bowen and Trent Petrozinski, just really showing what they can do early on in this match with their fast offense.
There, the middle obviously just couldn't get out of the way there for Georgetown. They've been battling the beginning digs, but it's really tough to convert when you're not getting that in-system set option.
And that's an attribute to this Pac-Man team that's just been really steady and consistent to start this first set. Now making a lot of errors, making it difficult for Georgetown to score.
So Chris Bowen's really showing that he's comfortable changing the flow early on in this match, but I think Georgetown really needs to find a way to get him closer to the net so he doesn't have to force so many options and he can really just dial in with his hitters.
Yeah, certainly, Josh. That serve receive hasn't been as good as it has been this weekend for Georgetown, and you're just seeing Pac-Man at almost a slightly higher level so far to start this set. More consistent serving, more consistent with their attack, and Georgetown's going to have to find another gear if they want to stay competitive here.
So obviously with the best of 5 here, the coaching staff at Georgetown led by Mac Robinson, they're not going to panic here. They know that they can still win. I mean, the Ottawa Rabbits women's team showed that you can take it to 5, you can come back from being down 2-0, but I think they just need to relax and start playing more for their identity. So whether they come back in this set or not, they really need to get something going for the rest of the match.
Yeah, I mean, we know volleyball is such a game of energy and momentum shifts. Georgetown's just got to almost prove to themselves that they can score points against this Pac-Man team that's been dangerous all season long. And I think if they can steal a set, maybe it's this one, maybe it's the second set, but if they can steal a set early on or get on a big run, steal some points, gives them some confidence moving forward.
Definitely, as we got number 11 Trent Petrozinski back to serve for Pac-Man as they're up 17-11.
That's a great shot there by Blake Fenwick, number 47, just off that block. And you see Georgetown runs their middles really quick, and that opens up the gap for their left sides. And both left sides of Georgetown are really good at finding holes in the block.
Got a net call against Pac-Man there. I think both teams have been blocking very well. It's starting to influence some hitter decisions as Jackson Young had to hit a roll shot there. There was a couple tips where, as the match progresses, we'll see if the blocking tends to overfavor the attacking or what that matchup looks like for both teams who really love to play in transition here.
Yeah, I know we were talking about that before the game, Josh. How blocking is really going to be a pivotal and a piece for the team that's going to win this game as both teams have the capability to really take over the game with their blocking. It's just going to be which team's going to be consistent at the net.
So Georgetown's down 18-13 here. You can see Abrams taking about half the court here. They're really trying to support their outside hitters to try to clean up their passing.
That's a great shot by number 12, Peter Bergosi on Pac-Man. They don't set him a ton on the left side, but when they do, it's often with a one-on-one block, and he has no problem putting that ball away.
This time against Pac-Man as Georgetown closes the lead just a little bit. They trail by 5, serving 14-19. I was just about to compliment the Pac-Man middle Natase about how good he was about closing. I think they dealt with every situation there, and he was on time, really working hard as a middle blocker.
Yeah, right now, the Pac-Man middles, Nick Basilio and Luca Nastase, are both doing a great job of just causing chaos for the Georgetown hitters. They haven't gotten a ton of clean looks this game, and that's definitely contributing down 20-14 right now for Georgetown.
I mean, even though it resulted in an error, that's a good run by Chris Bowen to show that he's not afraid to run the middles in transition and really challenge the Pac-Man blockers to actually stay home and be patient instead of exiting out of that pin early.
We certainly have to be. I mean, we know how important it is, especially at this level, to be establishing that middle and making those opposition blockers just think for a split second if they got to stay with whatever middle they're going against. And that's our third missed serve there, Josh. I think in a row we've seen both teams now back and forth trading missed serves.
I think that's one thing that they really need to address on the Georgetown side is like the foot faults and the serving long. Those are areas that we're not going to be patient with because you just can't win games doing that.
No, and they know that too, and that's going to be something Mac Robertson, the coach of the Georgetown team, is going to be addressing in between sets here, no matter what happens at the end of this first set.
Because Georgetown showed when they take care of the first contact, they're a very good team, but with the net calls, the missed serves, the foot faults, all that, I think that shows why they're down 5 early on in the first set.
And it's a testament to how consistent Pac-Man is, because we're not talking about those types of mistakes that Pac-Man has. We're just talking about it on the Georgetown side, and Georgetown knows they have to clean that up to compete.
A run by Pac-Man to get the back row player involved. Cole Kaczynski coming over the top. Great run by Trent Kaczynski to push Basilio out there on the shoot, open up the gap. That's a pretty dynamic offense coming at you in transition.
Yeah, that's a really high-level play from a couple of high-level players. I mean, everybody knows about Cole Kaczynski, how dominant he's been this season, among others. He's always been playing up in the age group, so this is the first season he's really been seeing him at his own age against guys his own age, and he's just been a dominant force all season long for that Pac-Man side.
And it shows that Trent Kaczynski is really thinking tactically, where early on in the match he set Basilio on the 3, he forced it with one hand, so Georgetown has really no choice but to bite on it there, and then he brings in the big. So you can see he's adding layer and layer and layer on their game plan right away.
Oh, no question about it, and that's the Pac-Man way, right? They're such a well-coached club. They've got a number of really high-level coaches on the bench running that strategy, and they run their middles so quick that Georgetown, I know the game plan coming in was they have to stay at home with the Pac-Man middles because they were scoring so effectively last time they played early in the tournament. And like you said, that just opens up holes for great hitters like Cole to just score at will.
Pac-Man back to serve up 22-16. Bergosi looking to keep that constant pressure on them with the spin serve. Spoons with a set die and a little bit early, tried to do too much, and you can see Cole Ketrzycki just reaches in there and clamps on him for the one-on-one block. Run. You touched on it earlier about how important the middles are going to be for Georgetown. A little bit of a force there, but you can see they did well with it. That's a play that they're typically running to kind of force. They can run that on a good pass, a bad pass, any situation.
And you know that number 51, John Dunning's been a weapon for Georgetown all season long. What a great day there by Bone. We'll touch on in a minute. Wow, what a rally. Huge pickup there on the dump by Chris Bowen. That's the second or third time Georgetown defense has read Trent Ketrzycki's dump. But that was the first time I think they've converted on a dig they've made in 5 or 6 points now.
That was definitely a quality dig on that in transition as they trail 18-23 here, finally getting something going in the match.
And this is what we were talking about, Josh, that energy swing for Georgetown is so important to just prove to themselves that they can get points consistently against this Pac-Man squad. And whether or not they win this first set, it doesn't really matter, but it just shows them that they can compete at this level in this big game.
Definitely, and it shows they do have another layer to the game where serving pressure isn't only going to come from the spin servers on their team. They're going to be able to hit some jump floats. That was right on the baseline, a deep serve. They got a lot of weapons that they can go to, and it's really going to take the whole team for Georgetown to really beat this strong Pac-Man team.
No question about it, and you see both teams in the timeout, both coaches just saying, keep that energy up, right? New in the last couple of years for the OVA is bringing in this five-set playoff match, which I think is just a wonderful decision, not only preparing the guys for the next level of play, but also really getting a full breadth of action for the finals and all playoff games, really.
Yeah, that's a good point. So maybe you could touch on that for our viewers. You being a university player, you come through high school and club and you play a bunch of 2-3s. What does it add to the game to play a best of 5?
One of the biggest thing, and I was talking about it with some of the guys from a number of teams this weekend, is you have to close the team out in 3 sets rather than 2, and so you go your whole life mentally preparing to win a game in 2 sets, and now suddenly you almost have to flip a switch, some players for the first time ever at provincials, and that can be a really hard decision to make. That can be a really hard thing to motivate yourself to win that 3rd set or win that 4th set. And Georgetown dropped 2 third sets this weekend kind of on that same fashion. You know, they just weren't able to close the game out. So it's just learning to adjust that to that longer game is really difficult.
It almost seems fitting that a net call would end this one for Georgetown, as they were all over it early on, as they dropped the first set 25-19. If they can adjust on that and a couple serving foot faults, I'm not even going to talk about the serves long, because being aggressive at the service line is what they do, but if they can eliminate the foot faults and the net calls, I think they're in it right away.
Yeah, it's a game of unforced errors, and I mean, I've been beaten on it all game, but Pac-Man is just such a consistent team. You know, a lot of these players have played in the provincial finals before, played in big games before. Not to say Georgetown players haven't, but this is definitely not new for many of the players on the Pac-Man squad. A number of them provincial and national champions. Whereas Georgetown, this is still pretty new for them, so it takes time to get your feet wet. You just hope Georgetown can kind of bring that consistency in that second set like Pac-Man had in the first.
Definitely. And as we have a break in the action here, I think it'd be fitting to talk about for any indoor volleyball fans, the action doesn't stop here at provincials. The One Volleyball League is getting ready to kick off. They have their draft combine on May 11th, and then the GMs, owners, coaches will get together. They'll draft their squads, and away we go in May for an action-packed season. And I know, speaking to Jackie before this game, it's not just for former pros and university players, but I think club players can also enter the draft and really show that if you're good enough, you're old enough, right? So maybe we'll see some of these guys in action this summer.
Exactly. I mean, no question about it. These guys will be going into their first years of university for many of them, and it's an incredible opportunity they may have, and some of them I know can play at that level of that Premier League. And I mean, they're going to be in university for the next 4 years, so their chance to take that post-secondary experience and bring it to the Premier League, I have no doubt these are going to be the future of that Premier League and the stars for years to come.
So definitely get over to One Volleyball's website and check out the Premier League. One exciting change they've made this year, instead of just being centralized in Toronto and all the games being at Ryerson University, they're actually going to move to several different communities around Ontario, so kind of increase the awareness and allow more fans to kind of catch a game this year. So definitely check it out. They might be coming to a gym near you. All right, right, as Georgetown takes the floor. It looks like a similar lineup to the first set. I think exactly what they started with. We'll see what rotation they want to go with. But as we touched on, their adjustments are kind of self-inflicted, right? If they can stay off the net and kind of protect that service line with being aggressive without going over, they're going to be right in the second set.
Yeah, Georgetown did a good job in that set of siding out, as did Pac-Man. The biggest points came during transition, like you said, Josh, where blocking and staying aggressive on your swings is much more of a factor. So Georgetown's going to have to make sure that they rein in some of those controllable plays where it's staying off the net, not foot faulting, and Pac-Man's just got to stay the course.
I think both coaching staffs are so strong, with Mac Robinson being joined by Nicholas and Joshua Pascala on the Georgetown bench, and then looking over at Franco Ragazzi, Alex Ketrzinski, and then Dave McAllister, who's actually a member of the staff at the University of Toronto. It shows that we got some high-level coaches here at the club level, so I expect some tactical adjustments here as we enter the second set. Looks like the same lineup for Pac-Man. They're going to start Ragozzi in 2 because they really want him top of the order when they go back and serve.
Yeah, and you see Georgetown starting number 12, Nicholas Gumiemek in the front row, matching him up for at least 2 of the rotations with the big gun on Pac-Man, Cole Ketrzinski. That's going to be a matchup to watch out for because Nick has done a really good job this tournament of taking out big left sides from other teams. He hasn't really slowed down Cole much today so far, but we'll see if he can make that change in the second set.
Right away, Trent Ketrzinski sticking to the plan of getting the middles involved early as Basilio gets the kill on the first ball side out here.
Now that was the first play they ran in the first set as well, Josh. So you see Pac-Man almost stringing this very methodically, very technically. You know it's important to establish those middles early, and Pac-Man certainly is doing that.
We'll see top of the order here for Pac-Man, keeping constant pressure. And like you said earlier, he doesn't miss very often.
And there's the big lefty for Georgetown. It's not easy to hit out of the left side as a left-handed player, but Gumiemek does a really good job of adjusting his feet, swinging high no matter where he's hitting from on the court. And he's just as efficient from the left as he is from the right.
Wow, Jackson Young coming to the back row. Just when Georgetown, it looks like they had them on trouble on that first contact, Pac-Man just has so many ways to work their way out of it.
And that's why this Pac-Man squad has dominated all year. If it's not Cole Ketrzinski, it's Jackson Young out of the backcourt. Number 6, one of the best jumpers and one of the best arm swings in volleyball right now. There's John Dunning out of the middle. Big middle from Georgetown. A lot of these boys, including setter Chris Bowen, libero Stephen Abrams, as well as middle hitter there, John Dunning, all from the same high school. Actually played Cole and Trent Ketrzinski in the OFSA final this year, so a little bit of a rivalry that's coming back again later in the season.
Again, you can see when Georgetown's limited, if they don't have an open opportunity to run their middle, Pac-Man's blockers are so good at closing and really clamping down on those outside hitters. When Jesse Sadie, head coach of Pac-Man, told me before the game they really enjoy playing in transition, we're getting a full view of that where everybody block covers. The libero's taking care of the secondary setting duties. Like, everybody's taking full swings. Like, they are definitely playing a very strong team system in transition.
Yeah, it's incredible how coordinated they are, whether it's their libero or Trent Ketrzinski setting the ball. Every hitter knows where they need to be, and they're executing to perfection right now.
Once again, the transition with Ragozzi setting the ball pretty deep in 6 there, but Ketrzinski, no doubt on that one as he uses the block.
And that's what you have to watch out for if you're Georgetown. Pac-Man just has so many weapons, and Ketrzinski showing he's got the finesse to back up his power. And that's something a lot of players, it takes years to learn, but he's got it at such a young age. It just shows how bright his future is in volleyball.
that one tags the line. I think that Georgetown was hoping that one was out, but Trent Kaczynski earns the ace there as they increase their lead to 6-2. Mac Robinson with Georgetown calls the timeout.
Yeah, and this is similar start to that first set for Georgetown. Going down early, down 6-2 right now, and they just still don't look like they're at the right gear to be in this gold medal game just yet. And I know they have another gear because they've been playing at it all weekend, but Pac-Man right now is just executed much more efficiently than Georgetown has so far.
Yeah, Georgetown really needs to find something in their team identity to rally with. Like we've mentioned that they've got good serves, they're getting Pac-Man off the net, but Pac-Man doesn't seem to have any stress in transition right now, so Georgetown really needs to get involved, whether it's running their middles or using their block in transition. They got to find something to really rally on.
They certainly do, and I think part of it's been Pac-Man's really been pushing them with their serves as well, but when Pac-Man's in transition, even if they're not getting a kill, they're putting Georgetown out of sync, out of rotation. They're making Chris Bolin run all over the court. And for Georgetown, they need to be insistent to be able to run those excellent middles that they have, and they just haven't been able to get both number 9, Noah Romero-Marshall, and John Dunning going.
So let's see what adjustments they make coming out of this timeout, but Trent Kaczynski's had a great serve to that zone 5 all match. He's been tagging that line, so let's see if they can put the front row left side in trouble again.
And that's just another demonstration of Trent Kaczynski making that dig in transition. He's not afraid to pick up a ball that comes over because he knows he's got 3 or 4 other guys who are willing to make a great set for him when he makes that defensive play. And Pac-Man's able to get another attack and another score against Georgetown.
Nice job by Fenwick to work his way through the block there. That was a tough rotation for Georgetown. I'm sure they're happy to be out of that one. And we got Gumienic back to serve. He struggled a little bit with the service line. Let's see if he can keep that service pressure without going over here. Switches to the jump float, and that one is long.
And again, it just looks like nerves for that Georgetown squad. We know they can play better than this. They've been playing better than this all weekend, but right now, they're just putting a lot of balls at the back, like you were saying, making uncharacteristic errors.
Effort by Georgetown as the center continues to run all over the court trying to save that ball.
And you see Georgetown now, they're almost in a 2-man serve receive here with Noel Campans and Stephen Abrams. They actually did do a 2-man serve receive last time they played Pac-Man as well, just because they felt their P2 was getting picked on by the serve.
They still find a way to make him handle first contact here. But passes well enough to open up the middle option, and that looks like Georgetown's bread and butter, right? They're at their best when they can run their middles on a first tempo.
For years, that connection between Chris Bowen and his middles has been really, really strong for Georgetown. It's probably the one area where they might have a bit of a mismatch against Pac-Man, but if you can't get a pass, you can't run the middle. And Pac-Man's got such dominant outsides, the score tells all you need to know.
That's the guy that they need to get going. I think we all know Gumienic is a very special player, but that's kind of the first ball he's connected on early in this match. If they can get going, he's just going to open up everything and put a lot of pressure on Pac-Man.
No question about it, Josh. Number 12, he's been the star outside player. He's an OVA All-Star this year for Georgetown, and it's just going to be important to get him firing on all cylinders if they want to be able to come back and compete in this match.
Jackson Young earning another point for Pac-Man. I've been really impressed with how patient he is. He's not afraid to tip or roll or make some smart continues. And then when he gets an opportunity, he's definitely going to score. He's a very efficient player who's never going to end up in the minus.
No question about it. I mean, I think you might get a little bit of that from his beach play. Him and Peter Ragosi are the current provincial champions for beach volleyball. He's got lots of experience adjusting the sets, making the smart choice instead of necessarily the most powerful choice.
And that's a break for Georgetown as they go to the pipe option and it snivels through the block. Credit to Pac-Man's block reading, though. They did get a triple on that. It shows that all players are really cue reading and making those smart decisions. And now, finally something to rally on. Georgetown earns an ace up to 5-6 seam here.
Georgetown's really struggled to put multiple points together, but here, a little bit of a run, and it's always better going that run earlier in the set like we saw Georgetown pushed 4 or 5 late in the first set, but it wasn't enough. Maybe they can come back now, make this a bit of a set here.
Call against Georgetown. That'll cost them. Interesting by Georgetown. They seem to be serving Cole Kudrowski on his hands a lot. I think that's more of a reflection where Cole's not necessarily a bad passer, but I think they want to challenge him to do more and say, you're going to have to handle the first ball and see if you can still run it in transition, right?
You're completely right, Josh. And you just hope that when a guy makes that first pass, you can maybe take him out on the play. Maybe he takes a step he didn't want to. And if they can just get the ball out of his hands, that certainly helps their defensive scheme. Another great read by the Pac-Man blockers, actually getting a triple up there on number 13, Noel Canfans. And just a testament, too, to Georgetown's passing when it's a little bit off. They're becoming a little bit predictable in their offense, and they're going to have to clean that up if they want to stay competitive.
This is going to be a tough rotation for them to get out of with the C-ball so far away and their passing struggling just a little bit. They're going to have to really rely on the left side to get them out of trouble here. Campins has made 2 hitting errors in a row. Obviously not ideal sets, hitting against a triple block and then having to tip that one, but he's going to have to rally. This is a tough run for Gumiemic to come all the way from the 5-6 seam to hit the C-ball, so they need to get a pass around the middle or their left side's going to have to work with that block.
We're seeing a sub here for Georgetown, bringing in number 76, Josh Tamukas. He's a big energy guy for Georgetown. He's been starting for about half the year, and he brings a lot to this team as far as power and just high-level energy. Hopefully he can help turn things around because right now Georgetown's making a lot of errors and digging themselves a bigger and bigger hole.
Yeah, they forced the C-ball there, and that was a no-doubter as Pac-Man knew that ball was out. Mac Robinson wants to stop the action and talk about it as they're down 7-14. Now, Robbie, you touched on the beach thing earlier. A lot of these guys have played beach their whole career, and I think 2 are going to represent Canada this year at U21. Is that correct?
Yeah, you're totally right. So Stephen Abrams and Josh Tamukas, who just got subbed in, are going to be representing Canada and Thailand at the U21 Beach World Championships, alongside a couple of other OVA athletes actually, and they were in the trials along with a number of the athletes in this game today. And it's a great experience to see a lot of Ontario athletes, Team Ontario athletes, succeeding at the next level, not just in indoor but also on the beach.
Yeah, we're only a few weeks away from the OVA Beach Tour to start. I think we usually start Victoria Day weekend, so get on your computer, check out ontariovolleyball.org, and the beach schedule's there. Registration should be open, so I think that's a credit to where volleyball is in Ontario, where typically the best beach players are the best indoor players, right? I think the styles complement both, and it's a credit to Georgetown where these guys have really invested their time in the beach, and it shows off in their indoor skills. And just the same credit to the Pac-Man guys, is Ketrzycki, Ragosi, like big beach players. They put in a lot of time, and it really shows off in their game.
Now we know specifically, Coach Jesse Sadi, so big for Pac-Man, not just on the indoor scene, but he's a big part of their beach program as well, and training these athletes he learns so many skills that can translate from one sport to the other, so it's awesome to see both those being kind of implemented on the beach and in indoor.
And we'll give credit as a coach's point there as Mac Robinson gets one for his squad. They're down 8-14, excuse me. But they do have a good rotation as they got their center in the back, they got Gumiemic in the front. Let's see if we can get him going here. Wow, that really shows the patience and skill of Trent Ketrzycki to take that overpass and use the blocker.
And that's just again, how good has Trent been this game for Pac-Man? Consistent blocker, making some great defensive plays, and you see there even generating a bit of offense for this Pac-Man side.
And there it is, Gumiemic earning the kill off the block here. And once again, John Dunning running up the middle there for Georgetown. I think he's going to be a big key. Even though he got a dig there, it's good to show that Georgetown still has a lot of trust in him that he's going to get it done.
Yeah, they're going to have to get those middles going. They're going to have to start generating some points. We haven't seen really the full Noel Romero-Marshall, their other middle, number 9, have too much of an effect on this game.
And there it is. I think that's Jackson Young's first error of the match as he tried to take a rip on an out-of-system C-ball. Georgetown's got something going here. They still trail 10-15.
Uncharacteristic miss there by Jackson. And you know, they love setting him again after an error. Didn't do it there.
And Georgetown's got it cooking there as Gumienic gets another kill, showing his off-speed talent. And that's one of the first times that Ketrzycki and Basilio had a disconnect there in the middle, so maybe Georgetown's got something going here.
As Georgetown settles into this match, their offense is flowing, but there we see another net violation for the Impact side, and that's a little bit of frustration for the boys, just knowing that they can do better than that, right? You don't want to have 5 or 6 net violations cost you a set or a match.
Just wearing them down in transition. Couple smart shots to take out the setter. Not doing too much with the ball. They're not afraid to hit it continue and really let their block defense work it out.
Yeah, that's a great rally by both teams, but Pac-Man just showing a little bit more poise, consistently putting pressure on Georgetown, even if they're not putting that ball down with a real hard-driven shot.
It was a good sign that Georgetown was able to run their middles in transition there. I think that's going to be the key for them to get back in the game, as you've touched on. That's probably the biggest mismatch that they can exploit here.
Yeah, they can't be afraid to set it, even if they know they've got a block on the other side of the net. Trust that their middles will be able to carve around it.
And they keep chipping away, forcing Cole Ketrzycki to handle the first ball there, and they got rewarded there with a hitting error.
That's a little bit lucky. I mean, Ketrzycki just rising up so high there. I think he went over top of the block and just out of bounds. I'm not sure they'll get lucky again, so they're going to have to tighten up that block.
Georgetown, here we go, getting a huge triple block there. Again, tactically, if they were to told us before the game, you know, we're going to serve Cole, we'd be like, well, you're crazy, but good luck. But as you can see, forcing him to do more eliminates that first tempo just enough to challenge him.
We know as an outside hitter, right, taking that first pass really limits what you can do on offense. And wow.
What a break. They switch up their serving strategy, go into area 1, and it earns them a clean ace here. Jesse Sadie calling the timeout. Pac-Man wants to talk about it as they lead 17-15. Georgetown is coming.
Georgetown's definitely got a little bit of life. You see John Dunning on the service line. Not a known strong server for this Georgetown side, but he's doing a real great job right now, stringing 4 or 5 together.
So with Georgetown, one thing they can't afford to do here is end their own run. So we can't afford a missed serve or a net call here. They have to make Pac-Man really earn it, because this is kind of the first stress they've really put Pac-Man under to kind of earn their way out of it.
So big with a team like Pac-Man. When they give you a few points, you have to capitalize. They're so consistent. They can bounce out of this at any point in time, so you got to make your runs when they give you an opportunity. This is a good team that can close out games, so Georgetown has to make up as many points as they can right here in the middle if they want to have a chance to take in this number 2 set.
So big decision by Dunning here. Does he go back to Ketrzycki or does he go back to 1? I mean, liberos, they don't like to be ace, especially watching a clean one land like that. So we'll see if they go at the libero or if they make Cole try to do more here.
I mean, minimum, you mentioned it, the serve has to be in if you're Georgetown. I'm thinking 5 might be the shot, serving at Cole, try and get him off.
And sure enough, yes they do. Oh, unlucky as they do get an off-speed shot that they couldn't handle. Again, not letting that ball score cleanly though. They did get a big chunk off the block, so shows that Georgetown's really settling in, and they really need the side out here on the first attempt.
And you just see that's Pac-Man, what they can do. Having a player like Jackson Young, a set that's a little bit off, but he's such a quick player, such a dynamic player. He can adjust and make a point that ends up scoring for Georgetown.
Once again, the great read blocking by Pac-Man is Jackson Young, who's an outside hitter here, clamps in on the middle because they entered his zone there. Shows that the double block in the middle that I think Pac-Man knows, you and I know, that Georgetown really wants to run the middle here. Unlucky as Gumienic gets the recycle off the block, but a little bit of clutter there, and they shank it out of bounds.
And just like that, Georgetown's almost done it to themselves. Reopening, Pac-Man's got that 5-point lead now, and it just makes you wonder if Georgetown's got enough for one more push here in the second.
Once again, Cole Kaczynski not trying to do too much, but just taking care of the ball on his side and constantly putting stress on the Georgetown defense.
And we knew Cole Kaczynski was going to have an impact on this game. Honestly, I didn't think it would be as big as it has been. He's been almost perfect for this Pac-Man side as a passer, as a blocker, and as an attacker.
Georgetown's shown they can do it in streaks, but they haven't been able to put it together for a full set here. So let's see if they can get something going as they trail 21-15 here in the second.
Great shot there by Blake Fenwick, getting subbed back into the game. Instantly gets served, but then he converts with an excellent shot. You just hope Jackson Young's okay after taking that ball off the block.
Maybe the only downfall of jumping that high is that happens sometimes.
He's showing no signs of relief there. Number 6, Jackson Young, putting that one down, hitting it as hard as he ever has.
Cole Kaczynski back to serve. They lead 22-16. What a shot. Finally forcing that C ball. Pac-Man kind of gave up on it. Gumiemic comes through and hammers it down the line.
And we've talked about, I haven't seen Gumiemic score when he's in the front row. He's scored a few nice C-balls now, but Georgetown needs to get him going in all rotations, not just when he's got that one-on-one block in the C-ball.
Once again, Jackson Young just taking care of it, getting another first ball side out for Pac-Man here.
And Georgetown's really just getting their block absolutely abused by the Pac-Man outside hitters, whether it's Jackson Young, whether it's Cole Kaczynski. They haven't been able to consistently slow down or stop Pac-Man's big guns, and that's really been their kryptonite here today so far.
Unlucky as Abrams was able to handle that serve, and they did get a first tempo option to the outside, but once again the Pac-Man block just ready and willing to clamp on anything.
And Noel Campins has struggled a little bit for Georgetown. He's usually one of the most consistent outside hitters with that creativity to use the block when it's there to score points, but so far today hasn't been able to get himself into a position to score very much against this huge Pac-Man right side.
And Georgetown able to battle through there as they trail 18-24. Once again, can they get something going here? It's getting a little late, but they do it in small streaks. They really need to start putting it together.
Into the game here, we see number 43, Josh Pereira. He's an excellent defensive specialist and serving specialist. Came in yesterday in the semifinal against the Ottawa Mavericks and served 5 points to close out the semifinals. So we'll see if he can do that here again today for Georgetown, maybe give them a little bit of life.
Once again, Rugosi. They don't go to him too often, but he is a very efficient hitter, exactly what they need, a ball control P2 who can take care of it when he gets his opportunities.
And Pac-Man again just showing their dominance here in that second set as well. That's 2 sets now where they've really just overwhelmed Georgetown with offense, something that, you know, maybe was a little bit unexpected. We thought Georgetown might come out with a little bit more life, but they've been doing a really good job of just staying consistent in scoring.
And as we have a break in the action, it'd be a great time to thank everybody who puts into this event, and that's the City of Waterloo, the OVA staff, and I think the vendors up top obviously do a great job with Mizuno and Mikasa being here. And I know I can't say enough good things about Connect stuff, where once we've done our goal setting about how we want to do in the tournament and how we want to play, the conversation usually quickly changes to, what are you getting, a shirt, a hoodie, you're going to put your name on it, what color do you want? The staff there at Connect Stuff does a great job creating lots of options, and you know, it never gets old. They do it every year, and they always have options, and I know it's something all the athletes look forward to.
Yeah, it's definitely a highlight, especially for the younger age groups. You see some of these older athletes, these 18U players, wearing their Connect Stuff, their OVA, you know, swag, and you see some of the younger players now wanting to kind of be like some of those older, excellent athletes, and it's just great that partnership the OVA has.
I think everything about this event is first class. You can tell by, you know, I think we're standing room only here at the men's court. As it goes deeper into the match, the women's one who went 5, it was standing room only and about 3 or 4 deep here. So it shows that the younger athletes want to hang around. There's family and friends here. The OVA just really making a great showcase for our sport here. What do you think both teams are talking about here as we go into the third set?
Well, I think if you're Pac-Man, we just want more of the same. They know that Georgetown's down and out. They're down 2-0, which is a really tough spot to be. But you just got to think Pac-Man's just got to keep beating Jackson Young, keep beating Cole Kaczynski, and let those guys take you to a provincial championships. If you're Georgetown, you just need to put those last 2 sets behind you and just play for your teammates, play with a new energy. Now it's a new game. It's a best of 3 if you're Georgetown. Just try and squeak out those 2 sets straight, and then anything can happen in a 5th.
Definitely. A few adjustments, I think, by Georgetown need to be made. They really have an identity with their serve, and that's just not clicking right now. But they're still a gritty team. They have a lot of trust. A lot of them have played together, like you said, in high school or on the beach. They've played together for a lot of years. Now they really have nothing to lose, and they just need to go for it.
Exactly. No one's expecting much at this point. They've had a tough first 2 sets, but everybody also knows they can play better than this. And like you said, Josh, it's going to start with that serve, and it's going to end with the serve. And then everything else in between, they know they can take care of. It just comes down to execution. This is why you spend months and months practicing for these types of games.
As we start here, it looks like the same rotation and lineup by Pac-Man as they really want Rogosi to be their first server. Man, what a spin serve. He's just doing enough. I bet you he's hitting around 80-85% of his capacity because he's not missing, but he is putting consistent pressure on the other team here.
Right, and there aren't a lot of players that spin using this particular Macassa volleyball. The spin serve is a rarer thing. You only see maybe 1 or 2 guys on most teams doing it. But Grossi is a master of this spin serve, and he's caused Georgetown not necessarily getting ace serves, but definitely getting a 1-pass or a 2-pass, making Georgetown taking out that middle option for their offense.
He's got great awareness to know that he's got Cole, Trent, and Basilio all up in the front row, so really he just needs to put them in trouble, and the block's going to go to work here as we get a triple block right off the bat by Pac-Man.
It's an interesting move by Georgetown. Probably not what they would have drawn up going with that pipe option on in the first point of the third set here with all the weapons in the front court, but setter Chris Bowen is just trying to get something new going because Georgetown's offense has been a little stale so far today.
And we get a break. Rogosi finally a little crack in the armor as we're tied at 1 here.
And that's something Georgetown's going to need a little bit of after losing those first 2 sets. If Pac-Man has a chance to really close this game out or leave the door open, and if Pac-Man gives them the opportunity, Georgetown will take it. But not with errors like that by Dunning.
Dunning misses long to 5. He created a serving run for himself in the second set there. Couldn't answer early on in the third set. And Nick Basilio back to serve here for Pac-Man. What a set by Chris Bowen. I mean, a little bit off the net, has to force it a little bit, but I think that's exactly in Gumiemek's wheelhouse. He can do a lot of options with that set.
Exactly, and those two have been connecting all season long, and like we said, we haven't seen Gumiemek really take over this game like we know he can. Hopefully he can have a big third set here, make his mark.
What an effort by Abrams. Just couldn't get enough of that dig, but he's been in the right spot. Georgetown's going to do a good job taking away the middle and the setter dump option. They just need to figure out these outside hitters in transition. Unlucky, a little bit of a disconnect as the blockers read tip and dropped their hands, and I don't think the back row defender was quite ready for that.
And that's what you can do if you're Cole Kaczynski. He's such a force in the front court. When he chooses to ease up on that swing, he catches the defense out of position, scores a quick point for his team.
Pac-Man missing a couple serves early on here. Again, Rogosi and Kaczynski don't miss that often. Hopefully Georgetown can take advantage and make a name of it here.
Georgetown needs to capitalize on these errors, and it starts with minimizing the errors of their own. Good serve there by Fenwick.
routinely expected from 0-0. And with this best-of-5 format, it's never too late to get it going.
No question of it. I mean, we saw it in the women's game just before this, going the distance in the 5th set with the Mavericks coming back to win. Maybe Georgetown can channel a little bit of that magic here, but Pac-Man still is going to be a tough team to take on a couple sets in a row.
Jackson Young continues to show he's got all the shots. He scored from left side, from right side, with roll shots, with hard driven, with the block. Man, he's got everything in his toolbox.
And those are the kind of players you love to have if you're a setter like Trent Kaczynski. Trent can run an offense. He's a really good setter in his own right, but having hitters like Jackson or his brother Cole just make it that much easier.
Agrees, but Georgetown will take it.
And those are the kind of breaks Georgetown wasn't getting in the first couple sets. Let's see if they can capitalize here. They got to start putting more serves together though if they want to stay competitive and maintain this pressure on Pac-Man.
Just long, but once again, Cole Kaczynski coming out of the back row at full speed, and Trent just teeing it up for him. Georgetown takes the early lead 6-5 here in the 3rd set.
That's another great play there by Jackson Young, beating Noel Campans with a little tool off the outside hand. And Georgetown's just got to be disciplined. You can live with Jackson Young blasting balls away and bouncing on them, but you cannot live with those little chintzy off the hand shots. Got to be more disciplined with their block.
And that's a tough scene between Fenwick and Campins. One of them's really got to take charge here. Obviously, the way Abrams playing, they got to go at the outside hitters at Georgetown. And that's a scene we got to contest a little bit more than that.
And this is tough. You see Abrams taking about half the court on a spin serve, which is definitely a little riskier when guys are serving as hard as someone like number 14, Luca Natase serves.
And just like that, we're tied up at 7s again. Georgetown keeping it close here in the 3rd set.
And now Georgetown moves in that rotation where Nick Gumiemic moves back to the front row. Chris Bowen's in the back, so you've got all the weapons in the front court. It's just a matter of can Georgetown use them.
Unlucky, a missed serve to make it 8-7 for Pac-Man. Pac-Man doesn't have too many weaknesses, but that was definitely in one rotation. They wanted to hold him in a little bit longer.
And if you're Georgetown, at this point in the game, you can't be missing serves like that. You got to at least give your team a chance to make a block or make a defensive play.
Once again, Georgetown answers in this back and forth 3rd set. This is the rotation they really got to hold them in. So we got Trent in 4, Basilio's stuck beside him, Ragosi's the only front row outside hitter option, so they're going to have to rely on something to get him out of this, but this is where they can really trap Pac-Man down. Gumiemic tries to do too much on that out-of-system set as he blasted out of bounds. Pac-Man gets out of that tough rotation, leading 9-8.
And again, it's just a game of errors, and Pac-Man's not making very many of them right now, Josh, and Georgetown is, and it's costing them because Georgetown needs to be so perfect to stay competitive.
That's well done by John Dunning. He's been a threat the whole game. They just haven't been able to get as many options as they would like to.
And Georgetown caught a rare break there. I think Peter Grossi liked that serve back, serving number 74, the libero, Stephen Abrams on that one, setting up the middle attack. That's what Georgetown needs if they want to compete.
And I think that block was a little bit influenced by all the net calls that Georgetown had earlier, where they're just not penetrating enough and they're getting used a little bit here late in the 3rd.
Yeah, they're just worried about kind of beating themselves. And at this point in the game, I know it's difficult, but you just gotta attack, attack, attack. You can't be passive when you're down 2-0.
Unlucky as we get a reserve call.
Pac-Man caught a bit of a break there with that ball on its way out of bounds, but safety first here at the OVAs. We don't want anyone getting hurt with an errant ball coming in the backcourt.
Score remains 10-9 as Pac-Man's back to serve. And there it is. I think Fenwick really needs the ball pushed out to the pin so he can have a little bit of options. When the ball dies inside, you can tell he's a little bit limited with how good the Pac-Man block is.
No question about it, and Fenwick himself will say he's a much stronger, much more confident line swinger than he is a cross-court swinger, so when he has that line option available, he'll take it. And you see Georgetown there just giving up easy point after easy point, and another ball dropping in front of Gumyemek.
Right back though and crushes that C-ball. What a great set by Chris there. On one knee, forces the C-ball.
And Chris Bowen is really falling in love with that set, and to be fair, that C-ball has worked almost better than the front court right side option for Georgetown.
And a timely ace. That couldn't come at a better time for Fenwick, who's really settled in here for his team in the third set.
And this is the Georgetown team we kind of came to expect. This is like a close match that we expected between Impact and Pac-Man. Pac-Man's not doing anything different this set, I think. Georgetown just taking their game to another level.
Definitely. We'll finally get a serve on Cole on his arms here. Mishandled a touch. Again, forcing the set to Gumyemek, and he takes full advantage. Oh, I stand corrected.
That was an interesting play. I think the referee called out of bounds, but he may not have seen it because that looked like it hit off the hands of the block.
Definitely got a piece of the block, and when he did touch the stanchion there, he was well out of bounds, right? Touching the post is not out of bounds for us, right?
Yeah, I mean, clearing that up. We have some great officials here today. And, we expect them, they have a little chat, they can make the right call almost every time.
Yeah, credit to Chris Getz, who made sure he wanted to get it right there. I think he had a good view at it, but he just wanted to confirm with the down official, Dave Williams here. And credit to them, they got it right, and Georgetown is enjoying a bit of a lead here now at 13-11.
And this is the first time I think Pac-Man's felt any pressure in this match, and if you're Georgetown, you would have wished this moment might have come in the second or the first set, but you'll take it when you can get it. Now Georgetown with a bit of a lead. It's going to be just more of the same coming out of this timeout, I think, Josh?
Yeah, I think Pac-Man's got a really good rotation with both Young and Cole Kaczynski in the front row. Really have to put pressure on them from the service line if they're going to keep this run going.
And I think Georgetown does have Chris Bowen in the front row. He is a bit of an undersized setter, so look for Pac-Man to push that ball to the outside, abuse that mismatch a little bit. And one thing I've noticed too is Pac-Man's been scoring a lot of their left sides on off-speed shots just over top of the block because they know Gumyemek wants to hit that C-ball. So he's settling in a little bit further back on defense, preparing himself to swing, maybe taking himself out of the defensive position a little early. And that's cost Georgetown some points.
Definitely, and credit to Gumyemek who's shown that he can hit cross and line. So I think the Pac-Man blockers are still trying to figure it out in transition a little bit. Once again, get Kaczynski on his arm. They get the set pushed off the net here. Free ball by Pac-Man.
See Romero Marshall making a big play in the middle. He's a bit undersized as a middle, only maybe 6'2 or 6'3, but he has some long arms, and you see them on full display there, extending up to meet Jackson Young at the summit.
I bet you guys at Guelph can't wait to get him in your squad, another hardworking guy to help the practice environment and contribute any way he can in his first year.
He'll be ready to contribute right out of the gate at Guelph. He's going to be an awesome addition to our squad.
Is another off-speed shot by Pac-Man. Pac-Man's really digging in and saying, you know what, we're not going to make errors. We might not go up and tear the cover off the ball every time, but we're going to be patient and really execute our team system.
Yeah, that's the fourth or fifth time this match where Jackson Young's risen up and looked like he was about to put one away, and he just drops his arm a little bit, takes that off-speed roll shot into the pot, and it's scored really consistently for him so far.
Good job by Abrams taking more court there. Unlucky as Campins earns the one-on-one here. Can't take advantage.
Well, Georgetown's really got to find another gear right now, get themselves out of this run by Pac-Man. I think it's going to be important for them to carry this lead late into the third set if they want to have a chance. They play a little bit better when they're defending a lead, putting that pressure on the Pac-Man hitters to score.
Abrams once again helping out on that seam. Chris Bowen getting involved in the offense. Great job for him to send the middle on a three and open that gap up. This is big. They're playing with the lead. John Dunning's back in the match. He's been a really emotional leader for them all match. We'll see if they can take advantage with him being up front again.
Yeah, John Dunning, a hockey player for most of his career, was on the pathway to playing high-level hockey when he started getting into the beach volleyball. Now he's going to the University of Toronto next year to play for the Varsity Blues, so he's going to be a big addition. You see Georgetown there with another big block on the outside. Noel Campaigns making his mark on this game now after a couple of offensive errors. He's picking it up on the defensive end.
I bet you Shane White and the staff at Waterloo is really, really excited to have Noel join their team. He's battled a little bit in this match, but you can see when he's in system and comfortable, he's a great player.
Not only that, but he's an incredible P2 player. He's really good ball control. He's another beach volleyball player like a lot of these Georgetown and Pac-Man guys. Really good ball control. A little bit undersized for an outside hitter, but he makes up for it in his craftiness and his ability to kind of read the play really well.
Definitely. We'll see what Georgetown does in this rotation. They've had trouble with this 5-6 seam and trying to get the C-ball with Gumiema coming all the way from 5-6 here.
That ball's out of bounds. Chris Bowen likes to go to John Dunning here and get a good pass. He might be setting it up there with that set outside to Noel Camp fans. But we'll see. We know he'd like to say Gumiema on the right side C-ball, but that's a long way to go for a hitter.
And another miss by Pac-Man here as Georgetown leads late here. We're up 17-15.
And we're certainly seeing a less perfect set here by Pac-Man. A few more errors, a few more service errors, giving Georgetown that opportunity to get out of some of these tougher rotations relatively unscathed.
When we spoke to both coaches before the game, both of them admitted they really like to play in transition. They both like to serve and defend, and I think that's just a great showcase of how well-trained both teams are.
Yeah, a couple of athletic plays on both sides. Defensively by Georgetown, Jackson Young showing us reaching for a few balls, putting that power tip in play multiple times in that rally. It's a lot of jumping for these boys, but they can handle it.
And there it is. That's the big block that Georgetown's been waiting for here. They increased their lead to 4 here, up 19-15.
And you see Gumiemic wagging the finger, no to Peter Ragosi on that one. A little bit of emotion from Georgetown, who's been battling all game, but they're looking a lot better on this set and making this game a bit of a fight.
This is definitely the rotation Georgetown wants to keep them in. They got Bowen at the back, Gumiemic up front controlling it. Campoons gets involved in the action with a one-on-one block of his own.
And that's something you don't see really in Old Camp fans, not known for his blocking. But Georgetown's taking all this momentum right now. A couple of big emotional blocks, a couple of breaks, the way the play's gone. But Pac-Man's going to have to find some energy here to stave off this Georgetown attack.
And I think Chris Bowen's doing exactly what Georgetown needs. He's not doing too much with the serve. He's just hitting his target, and he's really letting the blockers go to work. So that's kind of phase 1 for Georgetown. They just need to put enough pressure on Pac-Man and really let their block defense really take over.
We're seeing maybe a couple chinks in the Pac-Man armor. Maybe it's fatigue. Maybe it's that energy high from the first 2 sets wearing off a little bit for Pac-Man. But if you're Pac-Man right now in this timeout, you've got to just be saying, we know how good we are. We know how consistent we can be. Georgetown's had a bit of a run here, but we need to just be consistent and close this game out. And if you're Georgetown, keep that energy going.
Yeah, you touched on it earlier. This 5 set is a different animal than the 2 out of 3 that we're typically used to in the club season. So kind of shows that mental fatigue might be contributing, or just the discomfort of being in a 5-setter versus 2 out of 3. Maybe Pac-Man thought, oh, you know, we're cruising. Georgetown's not going away, and I'm keen for more volleyball. I wouldn't be upset about a 4th set or a 5th set here.
No question at all. This has been an exciting game, especially in this last set. We've seen a lot of long, emotional points on both sides, and that's something you always want to see in a provincial championship.
Tough one is they got the serve on Ragosi, which is what they wanted to do, take out the front or left side, but they couldn't do enough on Jackson Young, who just sees space and just uses his off-speed touch to get it there.
And that's when, Josh, where I would have liked to see Georgetown collapse a little bit more, knowing that Jackson Young had just got a huge tough block against him. It's very uncommon for young players to go up and hammer another one right off the bat on a tight set, so interesting to see Georgetown kind of get caught on a short ball in that last point.
Looks like Pac-Man's well aware of their opponent. They know Georgetown's a very strong blocking team, and they're not afraid to switch it up and use their off-speed here.
For Coach Mac Robertson, you might want to think about talking to your boys a little bit about covering that tip. You never want to see 2 tips like that drop just over top of the block in consecutive points.
Great patience by Campins to watch that one go out of bounds. You can tell he's not fighting the ball as much. He's really settled in and taken over with his skills.
That's a tough call to make, leaving that ball that's so close to being out, but great read there by Noel Campins.
Once again, Basilio is the answer here, running him on that 30. Trent hasn't been afraid to go away from that connection, as he's used it early, he's used it late in matches. That's definitely a go-to play for Pac-Man. Unlucky is a setting error, a little bit of a disconnect with Dunning there. Pac-Man closes it within 2, down 19-21.
And here you see Georgetown's got to take advantage of the opportunities they're given. That first serve, Peter Ragosi giving them maybe a slightly easier serve than he's used to make sure he gets that first one in, and Georgetown has to capitalize on those opportunities. Mac Robertson now calling that timeout, knowing that you're probably going to get a slightly easier serve from Peter again coming out of his timeout, so hopefully they can draw up a play maybe in this timeout and come up with something they can score a point off of.
Yeah, credit to Mac and the Georgetown staff, knowing that they don't want to get Ragosi into a rhythm here, so even though they still have 2, let's put a stop to it, let's see if we can break point here and get right back to work with our serve.
Georgetown's still got the upper hand here late in this 3rd set, but Pac-Man's not going away anytime soon, especially with hitters like Kedrzinski and Young. You know, a 2-3-point run is not out of the question at any point in the game. And if you're Georgetown, you just got to limit those opportunities.
Let's see if Georgetown adjusts here. They've got Abrams taking most of the court in 6, which again is pretty brave against a spin server like Ragosi, but if anyone's confident to do it, I think Abrams is probably going to take both seams here, actually.
That's tough for Georgetown. They've got Gimionek in the front court. I'm not sure why they haven't run him yet in this system, just because of how good of a hitter he can be. They've had the passes to do it. That's a tough set for Fenwick there.
Definitely. I think at this point in the match, it doesn't matter if it's strength on strength. Even though he's matched up against Kedrzinski, you got to go with your guy here. As they have dwindled it away, it's now 21-all. They had a lead, and yes, we haven't gone to Gimionek yet, and they've had the passes to do it.
You see Georgetown taking that second timeout. Here, Mac Robertson, no use hanging on to it, right? You got to get your boys straight right now and find a way to get out of this rotation. It hasn't been the serve. The passes have been there for Georgetown. It's finding a way to score on offense against this big Pac-Man block.
Ragosi, again, just keeping the right amount of pressure on his serve, still going for it, still trying to get the setter off the net, not making it easy for Georgetown here.
And you can see Georgetown's bench, Georgetown's players who aren't getting involved in the play. You can see how much they want this game, how much they want their boys to push this to a fourth set. And for Pac-Man, you can see they've got some energy back now. The serving run, while not necessarily the toughest serves in the world, have really been consistent and kept Pac-Man in this game as much as they can be.
And the Pac-Man blockers, they're doing a great job of taking space but not doing too much. We saw that earlier when Fenwick really tried to use Ketruzinski, but he was disciplined, he didn't reach too much, and really just took his space. And John Dunning continues to be the answer for Georgetown. What a run by him.
And there it is for Georgetown. Now you see Josh Pereira come in for the middle. It doesn't matter which one, but he almost always comes out when the games get tight in the 20s. And he's a really consistent server, but also a really strong defender. Definitely an upgrade over having a middle blocker in 5.
Georgetown leads 22-21 late in the third set here. I think if Georgetown's drawing it up, that's exactly what he wanted to see happen. Put a tough serve on Ketruzinski in the seam and make him do more, but he shows how fast and athletic he is to still earn that one-on-one with that tempo.
Yeah, and that's on Georgetown's middle blockers to close that block. You cannot leave a hitter like Cole Ketruzinski with a one-on-one. He will put that ball away 9 times out of 10.
And it sneaks through, and Georgetown gets it. They're up 23-22.
And now we got Gumiemek in the backcourt. Although that might be an advantage for Georgetown. He's hit really well at a Z-ball here for them today.
Unlucky as they get a big chunk out of it on the block, but unable to get the dig. 23 all.
If you're Georgetown, that's a really tough break because that was not a hard-run ball by Jackson Young. That was definitely diggable by the defense, but you always want your block to stay aggressive because half the time that ball can be put back down for an easy point rather than having to earn it on the offense.
We got Trent Ketruzinski back to serve for Pac-Man, all tied up at 23. Fenwick with the answer again. He loves that line shot into the 1-6 seam.
And great job on Bowen, just getting that ball far enough to the pin for Blake Fenwick to make a play on it. Now Georgetown looking to close out this game up 24-23, but you got Jackson Young on the left side. You got to think Pac-Man's thinking Young on this set.
Now they were able to trap them in this rotation earlier on in the set. Let's see what happens here. That's a break as the Georgetown blockers pull their hands away and Jackson Young launches it out of bounds. Gutsy call by the Georgetown blockers this late in the set.
That is bold. You knew Jackson Young wanted to go for those hands, especially when the set was a little bit off. He'd been getting blocked. He wasn't going to take a full swing, but to take your hands away like Chris Bowen did there to avoid getting tooled, that is a really, really bold call, but pays off for Georgetown as they force a fourth set here.
Just one of those plays where if it works, you look like a genius, and if that doesn't work, you just basically cost your team a provincial championship. So what a gutsy play by Georgetown.
And it's going to be interesting to see now how this fourth set begins. Pac-Man did go 4 sets with Aurora Storm yesterday in their semifinals, so we'll see if Pac-Man's been here before. They know how to close out this game in a 4th set. Georgetown's going to play spoiler here and see if they can push it to 5.
Once again, if you're enjoying this action, indoor volleyball doesn't end at this great event. The One Volleyball League is set up to start, so check out their website, lots of action. Or if you've had enough of indoor, maybe it's time for the beach and the OVA Beach Tour. The schedule is up, registration is open, should be ready to go. You and I are a little bit biased to the beach, but I think it's a great environment. You know, you can't get subbed out. You choose your partner. It's a great environment. The OVA Beach Tour has really expanded to a lot of communities all over the province, so it's accessible for everyone to play. I would recommend it to anyone who likes volleyball. You're going to love beach volleyball.
Yeah, and even just try it out. Almost every town that has an indoor club now also has some sort of beach club where you can maybe get some practice time in, learn the game a little bit. the OVA tour is set up to give everybody a chance to compete at the best level for them, whether that's at the top, in the middle, or whether you're just starting out. And the OVA Beach Tour is a great way to get touches in the summer if you're a little bit sick of indoor but still want to keep up with your volleyball.
Yeah, and I think the OVA does a great job where I think the OVA Beach Tour lasts, let's say, 14 or 15 weekends throughout the summer, but you can kind of pick and choose your schedule, you pick and choose where you want to travel. You need 3 events to qualify for your age group for Ontario Championships, so it really is a player-driven schedule where, like I said, you can pick a partner for every tournament, you can lock in a partner for the whole season. You kind of, it's really athlete-centered the way the OVA Beach Tour is run. Exactly,
and for those players who maybe are sick of the team environment or getting coached, beach is a relatively uncoached sport. You kind of coach yourself, so it's a little more individual. It's exactly like you said, Josh, built for your schedule. You can play whatever weekends you want, almost wherever you want, because there are tournaments all over the province. It's a really amazing experience, and like we said, almost all these athletes playing in this provincial championships have been on the beach at one point or another, some more than others, but a lot of these top guys are also top guys on the beach, so you'll see them out there for sure.
Yeah, and once again, if you just can't decide, One Volleyball is going to visit several communities this year. I'm so excited to see like the likes of Kelly Nyhoff, Becky Pavin on the guys' side, Steve Hunt, Ray Zito, like all the top talent that is available in Ontario plays in this league. It's going to be a stacked environment, and we touched on it earlier. I wouldn't be surprised if a few club players sneak into the draft and get taken because, like we said, if you're good enough, you're old enough to play in the One Volleyball League.
Exactly, no question. It's an opportunity you can't pass up. Ontario is so fortunate to have gotten a league like the One Premier League, where you can see such high-level players who have represented our country nationally, provincially. You know, it's an awesome experience for young athletes and old athletes who just appreciate the game of volleyball.
Definitely, and looks like we're ready for 4-set action. Same lineup by both squads.
I don't see a reason to change much, Josh?
Definitely not.
Everyone's really settled into this match now. I think we're in for an interesting 4th set here for sure.
Once again, Pac-Man being really gutsy with that out-of-system set. Tried to throw up a 50-50 ball, just didn't work out for him this time.
I never mind that out-of-system 50-50 ball, especially when you're way off the net, because you know you're giving up a free ball anyways, and both teams, if given a free ball, are really likely to score, so it's always better to take a chance on those out-of-system sets rather than play it safe, especially in a final.
Definitely, and looks like Nick Basilio, he really sets the table for this Pac-Man team. They like to go to him early and often, and he's been automatic throughout this match.
Yeah, Nick Basilio, interesting fact about him, he actually used to play with these Impact boys. He's actually from Georgetown or just outside of it, and so he's had an awesome career with Pac-Man, but he started off playing for Impact, and he knows a lot of these boys really well, so it's kind of fun that they get to play each other in the provincial final.
Young with the rare mistake. We've talked about this all game where Pac-Man in transition really takes care of the ball. Georgetown just weared them down in that set.
And Jackson Young's a guy who I actually expect to really step up in this 4th set. He's a leader for this team. He had a tough end to that 3rd set, putting that ball out of bounds, but I fully expect him to be, you know, all systems go here in the 4th.
There it is, the dreaded net call for Georgetown. Once again, they're playing in the long rallies. They're really wearing them down.
And they stayed away from that net for the most part in that 3rd set. I think that was a big key. They didn't give up too many free points to Pac-Man. And Pac-Man's so good, you cannot give them those free points. And so, like we said, Josh, if Georgetown can stay off the net, they're going to have a shot here.
Nice block by Pac-Man, really closing it up there. I think Georgetown, they like to take big cuts at the ball. They like to be involved. I think their block coverage is going to have to be a little bit more engaged if they're going to have a chance here in the 4th set.
They are, and it's going to be on the hitters to kind of recognize when they have it and when they don't. Maybe chipping in an off-speed shot to give the defense a bit of a chance to recycle that ball, set up for a better attack.
Unlucky as Fenwick hits the antenna there. Cole Kontraszewski showing extreme athleticism to keep that ball in bounds. For our viewers at home, you're not allowed to leave the sport court, so you can see how Cole balanced on one foot to keep that ball in play. Fenwick showing that the line shot is his bread and butter, not going to be afraid to go away from that, even though he made a hitting error this play before.
And he's going to have to be careful, though, because you see on that last play, even though we got the tool block on Trent Kentrzinski, Pac-Man is setting up to take that line shot away from Blake, so Blake's going to have to make an adjustment or risk getting blocked later in this set.
Nice run by Pac-Man to find their middle in transition. It looks like Georgetown has adjusted to the off-speed shots from the outside hitters, so they're definitely ready for a battle here in the fourth.
And that's all you really want, is you want to make the other team have to hit the ball to score on you. You never want to lose a game because you're getting tipped on or getting rule shotted on to score points.
Once again, Trent Kentrzinski doing a great job serving the front row left side, trying to trap Georgetown on that side. Bowen, he's not afraid to switch the flow and force that C-ball, but it's definitely not the first option you want to be doing on a pass and four.
No, and even though he's first in the flow, you're not fooling many blockers because that set has to come so high. It's really, really easy for skilled blockers to get across the net and actually block that ball.
Jackson Young showing that he can be really patient, and when he gets an opportunity to go for it, he is automatic.
Georgetown finding themselves down 4 here early in this fourth set. And for Georgetown, this is just the time of game where you have to find another gear here. You push in the third set, but if you can't push early in this fourth set, it's going to get out of hand really, really quickly.
Once again, Fenwick just not making it easy on himself. He's really having trouble pushing the ball to 2.5, which just clamps the blockers closer to his half of the court.
Yeah, I like this timeout here by Coach Mac Robertson. Nothing really wrong right now for Georgetown. They just need to settle down and play their game. They're making a lot of uncharacteristic errors. They're getting the right sets, but they just haven't been able to make the offense happen. A couple of hitting errors, a couple of out-of-bounds shots, but nothing to be really concerned about so far.
I would expect the way this match is going that Georgetown's going to come out of this timeout firing. I think they've got one more push left. I mean, they're down 5 early, but it's Ontario Championships. What else are you waiting for, really?
Exactly. Don't want to leave anything in the tank. Don't want to leave this game. This is going to be the last game these athletes play on the provincial level. Obviously, we have nationals coming up in a couple weeks. We have Volleyball Canada Nationals here in Toronto, but you know, this is their last chance, their 18U year. You don't want to leave anything left in the tank going into this fourth set here at the Ontario Championships.
And credit once again to the patience of Pac-Man. It looks like they're totally comfortable keeping their serving target. Everybody knows where Trent's going to serve the ball here, but they're just executing at such a high level right now.
One thing Georgetown did when they played Pac-Man earlier in the tournament was they actually went with a 2-man receive with Campbans and Abrams, taking Fenwick completely out so he could focus on hitting, because you see Pac-Man's targeting him on their serve. Although Fenwick's doing a really good job of making that pass. So you see Pac-Man called over the net there, interfering with that set by Bowen. Obviously Bowen under the plane of the net. Got a couple of big players on that Pac-Man side reaching over, trying to make a play on that ball.
And that's in there. Georgetown with another baseline ace against his Pac-Man squad.
Now Georgetown has typically been going after Cole Kentrzinski on that serve, hitting him in 1 this time. We've got a reverse with Cole and Jackson Young in their opposite positions here, but that hasn't been so much of a problem for them here today.
Tries to be too fine with it on the second time and misses. Pac-Man up 8-5 with Cole Kentrzinski back to serve.
If you're Georgetown, you're maybe okay with that. If you're Georgetown, you may be okay with that tough miss. You did get a 2-for-1 there, stealing a point with that ace, but you got to keep that pressure up every single serve.
What a run to get your middle involved in transition like that. Great control by Pac-Man.
That's a great set there by setter Trey Kentrzinski. Running that middle, running Luca, number 14, down the middle. He's a force to be reckoned with. Another big player, big hitter, important piece for that Pac-Man team.
I think the Georgetown fans wanted a hands call there, but the boys kept their focus and battled it out to earn that in transition.
Yeah, and you have to appreciate the refs have been really consistent for both teams this game and all tournament long. I think that's something both sides have noted. You might not always agree with the call, but the calls are going both ways. So
definitely doing a great job of just calling what you have to and letting the athletes really figure out the point.
That's a tough break for Georgetown. Really good rally. Georgetown's definitely picking up on those off-speed shots Pac-Man's putting in play, but now it's really their own errors. 4 or 5 hitting errors to start off this fourth set that have found them in a 5-point hole here, down 11-6.
And Guyemek just curls that one out the sideline here. Oh, what do we got? I think we have a net call on Pac-Man as we're going the other way.
Must have been a net violation. I honestly didn't see what the call was there. The ball was coming right at us. I wasn't looking at the net there. Georgetown definitely hit that ball out of bounds. I don't think there was a touch, but must have been a net violation.
And an ace by Georgetown. Looks like they're going to switch up their tactics a little bit. That was dead on the Pac-Man libero here, and he was unable to handle it. Shake hasn't seen too much action here on service for Pac-Man. Maybe Georgetown's going to take a look at giving him some volume.
Yeah, they've been going at Cole Ketchizinski, I think like we talked about, to maybe try and just catch him in transition more off the pass, but Shake has let a few balls go in the backcourt and hasn't been passing perfect here today.
Once again, not the best pass by Pac-Man, but when you got Jackson Young out there ready to take a big cut at the ball, you can get yourself into trouble in a hurry.
Yeah, you don't need perfection when you've got such big hitters like Pac-Man does. And especially when you don't, that's the big thing, right? When you don't rely on the middle, as much as Georgetown does, the passing doesn't have to be as perfect. It doesn't demand perfection like it would for other teams.
Well done by Georgetown. Pac-Man doing a great job trying to take out their setter on first contact. Abrams steps in right away, and great set to the right side there.
Yeah, that's one thing Georgetown does really well, maybe more than other teams, is run that as-system ball. When Chris Bowen's not setting that ball, they can usually find the libero number 74, and he's really worked this season on developing that back row set from the libero, which is so important, especially when you get to the next level.
And once again, Basilio's the answer.
He's been finding holes in the block all game long. I don't think he's been really stopped.
He's doing a great job just opening up gaps for the outside hitters, and when they do run him on the option, he's been very efficient as Pac-Man's back up 13-9. Georgetown able to close another point, though. And Trent Ketchizinski wins the joust there against Big John Dunning. Pac-Man regains a bit of a cushion here as they're up 14-9.
And this is a big rotation here for Georgetown. You got Peter Rigosi, rather, with that big spin serve. We know caused Georgetown so much trouble in past sets. They got to break this serve early here to have a chance.
And Georgetown with some off speed of their own catches Pac-Man off guard. Now, Georgetown's been earning the last few times they've gone back to the service line. They don't have to obviously tie it with one serving run, but they do need to keep chipping away.
They certainly do, and Georgetown catches a bit of a break there. Another chance to put Pac-Man out of system, and I think that's one thing for Georgetown. You're right. They don't need to be getting aces, but they definitely can't be allowing Pac-Man a dime 3-pass every time they make a play, because Pac-Man's got such a dynamic offense with so many good hitters. You have to limit what they can do.
Once again, Georgetown targeting Cole Ketchizinski, trying to take him out, and Basilio's right there in support. So even with Cole handling all the first contact, it looks like Pac-Man's willing and able to spread the ball.
And Blake Fenwick again blasting that ball off the head of the block, and this time it was Trent Ketchizinski. Like we said, Jess, I wish we got high enough to be able to put ourselves in that position. I mean, that's just a testament to how athletic, how much these Pac-Man guys have worked to be able to put themselves in a position where they're up here in the fourth set.
You know, Cole has really impressed me this match, where a guy who can like tear the cover off the ball with how well he can attack. He's mixed in some off-speed stuff. He hasn't done too much with the block when the opportunity's been there. He's shown he can score in a variety of ways.
Yeah, the finesse on this Pac-Man side is incredible. They've shown excellent discipline and really just taken what Georgetown's given them and scored at a really, really efficient rate.
Pac-Man increases their lead here to 6 as they're up 17-11.
We've reached what many might call the 11th hour here for Georgetown. Down 17-11 here in the fourth set. You got to think Coach Mac Robertson just wants to see if these boys have one more run left in them to try and make this fourth set a bit of a game here. But Pac-Man is just looking so steady.
Yeah, it's going to come down to I think, a big emotional swing. Georgetown definitely likes to play for each other, so with a system like that, they're always one block away or one dig away, one transition kill away. Just somebody's got to spark it here for them.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. I think the blocking is going to be critical for Georgetown. We haven't seen it have as much of an effect as it did last set when they beat Pac-Man, because they got a couple of big blocks late middle of the set that really turned the tide and gave them a bit of a lead. Let's see if they can use their blocking to bring them back into the game now.
And this has been a strength for Pac-Man the whole match. Trent Kaczynski, odds are he's going to put in a tough serve into 5 here, try to pinch the setter over to that half of the court. Let's see if Georgetown can get out of here, or if they have to do another reverse flow C-ball here. And there it is, just like clockwork. They tried to change direction with the C-ball, but Pac-Man was ready for that adjustment.
And I think Georgetown's got to find a way to get their middles more involved. I know the passes aren't always perfect, but you got to force something. That's where your mismatch is. You got your biggest, best hitters down the middle, especially with Noah Romero-Marshall. That guy can jump. That guy can hammer a ball. And you just got to trust that, he'll be able to get you a point.
Once again, Trent traps them on that half of the court, earns a free ball for his squad here. And I agree with Chris Getz there, the first official. He's got a good view at that. Bit of a reach by the Pac-Man guys. Georgetown gets out of trouble now. They're down 12-18. Once again, they don't need to get all 6 points back on this run, but they definitely need to chip away.
Yeah, there can be no empty possessions at this point to kind of bring in a little bit of basketball. You got to get every time you go back to the service line, you got to try and steal a point here, steal a point there to come back.
Unlucky as they do get an off-speed out of Ketchizinski, but he catches just enough of the block to change direction there.
And that's been the story for Georgetown this game. A couple of bad bounces. They're getting the touches on their middle blocks, but that's almost causing more chaos for their defense than it's helping. Just because it's creating a tougher chance for the defense to get a ball up.
Once again, Georgetown caught on the net here as it cost them a transition point. That makes it 20-12 for Pac-Man as they take full control of this fourth set.
This is where you see just Pac-Man's depth, Pac-Man's consistency really on full display. Their blocking's been incredible. Now you see number 76, Josh Tamugas, coming in the middle. He spent the first 6 years of his career as a club player as a middle, only transitioning to the left side this season. He actually played for this Pac-Man team up until his 16-year year, so he's actually very familiar with these guys. But he brings a different flavor down the middle than Noah Romero-Marshall, so we'll see what he can do.
Let's see if he can be the spark to get this Georgetown squad going. There it is, Gumyemek with the C-ball again. He's, like we touched on earlier, he's been better from the C-ball than he has been from the front row.
He really has, and I think, Josh, now it's getting to that point where Georgetown can't just chip away anymore. They are going to need to go on a 4 or 5 point run to really bring themselves back into this game. They won't have any chance now.
Right away, setter off the net has to bump set here. Let's see what Georgetown can do. Once again, showing off the skill that Pac-Man has, that even though you take out their center with the first contact, their middles can just jack up a high ball and be super accurate with it. You can see Ragosi taking a full speed approach at that, no doubt, with this cross-court shot.
Yeah, I think, we talk about Jackson Young and Cole Ketchizinski, but Peter Ragosi's been really excellent this game as well. Just really consistent, maybe not the flashiest player, but he's really causing a lot of trouble for Georgetown in a number of areas.
That serve goes long as it's now 14 serving 22. Georgetown really needs to get it going here.
Crisp going back to serve. They got Gruniemic back in the front court, so maybe they can make something happen with his block. Him and John Dunning together can hopefully slow down Basilio a little bit, but it just might not be enough this late in the game.
Once again, the off speed by Jackson, fooling the Georgetown defense. They take the lead 23-14.
I think Jackson Young's just maybe in the head of the Georgetown defenders just a little bit. He's giving them a different look every time he's attacked the ball, and Georgetown just doesn't seem as aggressive on defense, and I know they can be.
Volume that he wants, but when he gets an opportunity, he's so efficient.
Georgetown now just in a tough place here. You want to just put on a bit of a show here for the end of the game, down 24-14. Things maybe not looking so good, but can be proud of the way they played. They really battled in that third set, but Pac-Man has been the more consistent team here today. I think that's the best way to put it.
They have earned game point here, getting Georgetown out of system. Let's see if they can convert here. And there you have it. Guess who? Basilio running the 3 into the gap as Pac-Man takes it. They are your 2019 Ontario champions. Well earned from them. I think it shows the trust they had in their coaches, where you get an environment like this. We saw their warm-up. There's guys bouncing balls. They want to hammer it. They want to play with adrenaline. But then the game starts and they're mixing it off speed. They're serving their targets. They're really doing everything they needed to do to win.
Yeah, they came in today. They were confident. They knew the game plan. They were able to slow down Georgetown's really strong attackers when they had the chance. And then they were just consistent. Limited their errors, maybe took it a little easy on their serves, and like you said, made the right continues when they had to, but then put the ball away when they had the opportunities. And that showed, and they get a great 3-1 win here today.
And it definitely shows that we spotlighted Young and Ketchizinski a lot this match, but their role players, for lack of a better term, or their depth guys, really showed their middles. They run their lanes, they close blocks. Everybody's doing their job. Ragosi was steady from the service line. He scored when he needed to. It shows that they really are a complete team and they're just not star-driven.
Well, hey, hats off to that Georgetown team for a great season. I don't think a lot of people had them pegged as a provincial finalist coming into this year. They had a lot of question marks, but they did a really good job all weekend battling. But today, this Pac-Man squad really showed why they deserve to be provincial champions.
I think both squads are in a great spot to go into national championships. I think Pac-Man's playing the way they want to. They can show that they can score in a variety of different ways. And for Georgetown, this is good feedback for them to go into the late stage of the season here. They can make some adjustments, maybe talk about a second defensive system, what they're going to do with off-speed. But both teams are definitely in a good spot to do some damage at national championships.
No question about it. It's going to be exciting to see how these guys do in Toronto when they're up against the country's best.
So once again, thank you for joining us, Robbie. It was great to have you. Great to have your insights. Everyone, thanks for tuning in and joining us here at Rim Park. Once again, Pac-Man are your 18U Boys 2019 Ontario champions.